Hello, hello. Welcome to our last day together. Sadly, I have really enjoyed being with everyone. This is day 5 to the Infant Provider Challenge. This is not goodbye. I'm still going to be around. I've really enjoyed the interaction and being here, learning with everyone, and the feedback has been really, really great. So welcome today. We're going to have a packed day, and I also want to take any questions that you might have. Um, I'm adding a bonus day for you tomorrow with a call to help with your forward-facing um, your online marketing. So there's going to be a special guest named Chris Carney, and she's going to give tomorrow, 11, same time, she's going to give you some support on how to use everything that you learned this week and add to your into your expertise and how to show up online so that you have a stronger and clearer polished provider look for parents. So we'll have that email going out tonight, but it's the same time, same place. Show up tomorrow and you get to meet Chris. She is really fun and very knowledgeable in that area. But before I forgot, I wanted to say that. So let's jump in today. Um, I would love to hear in the chat if you have some takeaways that has stood out for you this week as we pull it all together today. What has stood out most for you in your work, what you observe, what you do? What's something that you can take away that impacted you and the families that you work with? I would love to hear that. If you were on the recording later, I would love to hear your takeaways as well. Don't feel that you're not included. So replays are available through Sunday night. So you have through the weekend to catch up on all of this. And then everything closes out on Sunday night, right before Monday. So it'll be done for now. So whatever you have questions for me, ever bonuses that interest you, grab it before everything closes Sunday night. So today is our day 5. The roadmap, your professional evolution. We're going to get into the framework, help you with this new identity that you've gotten this week into the provider who leads. So I hope you feel more like the provider who can lead than you did on Monday. And that I would love to hear that too. So in that takeaways, do you feel more like a provider who can lead through these things? Lead stronger in your interviews, in your sessions. So before we put this whole week together, um, I just want to say this to you. Like we talked about this earlier in the week, but most infant providers are working with babies every day and seeing things you can't always explain, can't name, and don't always know what to do about. So that causes, anxiety and such. But what happens is you notice the baby who won't settle like others, the one who only turns to the right, the one everybody else might label difficult or high needs, right? Babies aren't difficult, right? They're not trying to be difficult. But without a framework behind them, either say nothing or you might guess and try some things, or um, what usually happens is saying nothing and then the baby misses out. And so this gap creates, like I said, some anxiety, like, am I missing something? Families don't really understand what you're doing if you're just trying something, like you're guessing and you're like, let me try this. So the families aren't going to translate that into value and seeing you more amazingly, right? Like why that matters. And you'll feel like more like undercharging because you can't articulate what makes you different. So we've practiced that this week. And while I'm here with you today, if you want to share your exceptional care statement or your unique value proposition that we talked about, feel free to submit that and we can go over that together. So then you can take that away with you after this week. You want to feel what makes you different from every other provider that could be hired, right? You have to feel it as well as articulate it. And the babies that the neurological systems need support, right? They need you. So this gap there, it's not your fault. It's just it's a framework gap. It's a language gap. I mentioned that the things I'm teaching are usually reserved for clinicians and medical professionals, and most of them don't put it together the way that this is put together because this comes from a different view, a different lens. So here's what you actually solve, what you're actually solving, right? Just to give you some clarity today. You give families the ability to see what's happening in their baby's brain, in their baby's neurological nervous system, right? It gets named, it gets understood. It can feel like a smaller problem to a family when it can be like, oh, yeah, it's just this. Here, let me show you how we can fix this, right? It doesn't feel so big. And then you get looked at the person who gave them that calm. No diagnosing, no treating, no clinical stuff, just informed, caring, nurturing, but intentional and confident caregiving. Now, the biggest part to me is that it changes the outcomes for babies. It literally changes their outcomes. So the family needs to know that you're going to change. And you don't always want to use the word outcomes. I'm using that for you. For a mom, that might seem like outcomes of what, right? But you are changing. But you have to use language. This is back to our other day, but language that the parent cares about. Right. You're changing what for them? What is important for them, that family, that parent, that baby? What are they struggling with? Okay, so today I'm going to show you exactly what the framework looks like. I'm going to show you what it is, what it looks like if you worked with me, what the framework is, right? And why. You know a little bit of why, but I'm going to break it down. We got four pillars here, and I just want to show you the full picture of what you have. I've given you the framework today, and who you've become in 5 days is different than you were on Monday. Whenever, even myself, whenever you learn new information or something is looked at from a different viewpoint, you change. And then it seems like you've known this forever. You're like, oh yeah, that makes total sense. I got that now, right? So it seems like you've always known it, but it gets infiltrated into who you are as a woman, as a confident caregiver. Okay. So we've recapped a little bit, but just what we've built this week, you learned that every baby's already communicating through movement, that asymmetry, dysregulation, and movement avoidance from day one. That's not personality traits or parenting failures, it's their nervous system. Now you know how to listen to that. If you didn't catch these, like I said, grab these trainings before they go away Sunday night. Okay. I want the most of you to benefit from this week as possible. Day two, we talked about the baby who won't settle. They're not difficult. Their stress response is running. We use the NICU graduates and preemies as an example for when a NICU, like your stress response is running, 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 and it doesn't just turn off. That's how they learned. That's what it learned. Okay. So I gave you a small, easy strategy of rhythmic, intentional movement and how to do it to teach and show the nervous system that it's safe. We all have to feel safe. Someone's going to take care of us. If we're going, that's how you build connection. Okay. There's this, you have a little bit of an option, a solution for that now. And day three, we talked about, the Moro reflex on day two and how it fits into all that. So that keep that going when you work with your next babies. Day three, we talked a little bit about the ATNR, primitive reflex, as an example for a pattern of a baby who only turns one way. So it's like you see it and you're like, why are they only doing that? Right. But we talked about the reflexes, how they're needed, but they need to come and they need to go away. So it's really, really important for you to be helping that baby move through these, not just like, oh, yeah, they're having that. And, Elizabeth said it was normal. Because look, some babies we talked about, they're going to do the beautiful dance of development, move through all the things. Um, but sadly, that is not the majority anymore. The majority, I don't know why. I mean, there are reasons, but I see babies all the time that just everything is not clicking the way that it. My mom is 88, and she's like, "Why do people need all this training about babies?" She's like, "Don't they just you put them on the floor? Don't they just learn what they're supposed to learn?" You know? And I said, "Well, sadly, mom, no, they don't." You know, and people who've not experienced that don't realize that that's a thing until it's late, right? Um, so for that day three with the 18R and the only turning to the right, we talked about this, how it's feeding can be harder on one side. So you have a name for this now. You have language. You have the conversation now that you can speak about it. Okay. Day four, we talked about you personally don't have a skill problem. It's a positioning problem. So you take all of this and the sentence that we wrote together, your exceptional care statement, and you put that together to help your positioning. Today, I'm going to give you the full framework, and then tomorrow with Chris, you're going to see how the positioning can be done online to help your presence all come together. To me, this is not a week of a wasted time or a theory. This is a week of transformation if you use this knowledge. Okay. So what is the neuroplay method that I keep talking about? Today, I want to give you a complete picture of what it is and what does it look like? What can you do? Okay. There's four pillars that hold everything together. Sometimes I like to write. Sometimes I like to write and show you instead of being on a slideshow. Okay. So the first pillar is move and play. Okay, these are my names because I didn't want them to be clinical. I didn't want them to be very scientific that it doesn't fit and parents are questioning like, well, wait, you're not a doctor, you're not a therapist, right? But what you do and you show from your um from your online presence and the way you speak is that move and play sounds very simple, but what it is intentional, science backed movement sequences. We'll say that again intentional, science backed movement sequences delivered through the natural context of play and caregiving. Okay. Purposeful, playing with purpose. Okay. We're playing because that's how babies' brains and children, babies and children, that's how their brain is formed. It has to be through play. That's their job. Kids should play. And I know that's lessening these days too. Everything's very, very serious. Okay. So that's another um benefit that you're giving to parents that they might not realize. You're showing them how to play with their baby that hopefully will transfer over, to them playing with their children. I hear that a lot online, actually. There's a really, really successful coach, and he had a vulnerable moment one day and said, I know all of these things. I know all of this. I can teach you guys about sales and marketing and this and that. And he goes, you know what I need help with? He goes, I wish I knew how to play with my kid. And I was like, I don't know, you just see some people and they're so put together. And I was like, wow, you just don't think about it that way. So they, he has so much in it. And anyway, so that was a interesting for me. So that's another gift that you're giving is how to play with their baby intentionally to give all of the things that their brain and body needs. Um, so this is intentional science-backed movement sequences. And so you can pull random, I just say random because they're not going to be put together, but you can pull movements off of the internet and Instagram and try them. And usually, not all the time, usually they're good. They're a good little activity. I said, although what this misses is the sequential part. So that's where I support you. That's where my expertise comes in, and I help you learn the sequential part and how the other thing that if you're pulling them offline and trying them, it doesn't give you the professional framework that we've been talking about, that backing behind you to stand on and stand straighter, like we talked about, of how you present yourself. You know, you 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 would be more like, yeah, I got this really great activity that we're going to try today. And the mom will be like, oh, great. And then she goes into the office to work. It doesn't draw her in that you're changing anything with her baby or their life. Um, that's why that's not what I do. I don't put random PT movements on Instagram because it's not that they're bad, but they don't support you in a transformation into a different kind of provider. That's where my heart lies. I like the transformation of the babies, the transformation of you as a provider, just elevating everyone. And so that's where I live. So just I want to give you some clarity around me. And some people, that's a great fit. They're like, I want that. I want to transform. And some people are like, I'm fine with what I do, and that is totally fine. This is why we meet, and this is why I explain it to you. But it matters because movement's neurological input. Every time you do something with rocking or holding or positioning or playing, you're giving the nervous system organized input or you're not. It's just a fact. And so, like I said earlier in the week, the way I will hold a baby, random baby, is different than most other people will hold one because I also adapt it to what that baby's doing. It's not even that I can tell you theoretically, it's that I adapted to the baby because I can feel and assess what they're doing. And that's what I help you. I help you with that too. So everything becomes more intentional with move and play. And so I want you to feel that you got some of this week. And the next part is called observe and assess. So what you do here is whatever movements that you're doing, play sequences, you use your neurological lens that you gained this week and you observe how are they doing that movement? Is it smooth? Is it symmetrical? What's going on? Right? And so it's the ability to look at a baby and tell the difference of whether their nervous system is communicating great, yay, everything's fantastic, or not, right? Or what level of support is needed. Okay. And then the support that you give in the next step is in your scope. And then step 4 is when it's out of your scope, just to give you a little preview. So this right here, the observe and assess, is so you can see what their nervous system is telling you. So we talked a lot about this week. I gave you a lot of the framework and the tools in there. And it matters because you are the closest to the babies in the first 6 months. You're the one with the most opportunity to catch what others miss. You're already there, right? Just having this lens behind you to evaluate what you're seeing with confidence, that's the thing that changes from guessing to making a big difference. Okay. So then thirdly is the connect and unblock. Now, this is a step that was a bad. I hope y'all can see this. Let me check. Um, this is a step that is not often given because let me see, make sure you can see the board here. It's not often, you cannot. Sorry. Computer's kind of, there we go. Apologies. Um, it becomes like, what am I looking at? Like connect and unblock. What does that even mean? So what this is the ability to recognize when a pattern isn't shifting from the sequences, right? So you assess, so you pick a movement. Let's use an example so you guys have a takeaway from today. Let's use the example from day 2, and we said we were holding the baby, giving a little gentle pressure, holding it inside, and like rolling a little bit back and forth on sideline, but with a little bit of gentle pressure. You'll also want to have their limbs in flexion and pulled together. It's an neurological organizing position. And so what you would do here in connect and unblock, so in the assess and observe, you would notice what part of that was difficult or not smooth, or what was their response to that movement. And then in this step, this is the neuroplay method I'm giving you, the framework. This step is, for example, you would recognize what wasn't working for them, some babies may try to extend back out of it. They're not comfortable. It's not a calming position for them, or their head doesn't go that direction, or they want to roll immediately to their stomach. Like there's a few things that you can notice. There's more. That's just a couple that you would notice. And then in this step, you would be able to put that together for them and facilitate the part of the movement that was challenging for them, because you will know that means if they can't do this, they're not as organized as they can be, right? And then if they're not organized, that can lead to other difficulties. That's what we shared, right? When you have a neurological system that's not organized, then it leads to other problems, focus problems, attention problems, having friend problems, um, sitting in class using a pencil problems, like all kinds of stuff. You want the pathways to be as efficient and strong as they can. So you connect here. So if you observe that baby not able to be comfortable in that position, you would adjust the position for them to be successful in a way that's comfortable, and then you progress them into it. So then it's like a reconnection has happened. The body feels safe. They came out of the fight or flight that they were in. All through easy movement and play. That's what's so great. I feel is that the goal of this method was to take the complex and make it simple. So complex, make it simple. Okay. So there might be a retained reflex, right? Asymmetrical tension. There can be a sensory avoidance area. And so instead of this baby becoming a 3-year-old or 4-year-old having to go to OT, maybe PT and speech, maybe OT and speech, just depending if it was sensory or asymmetrical, this pillar can shift that in a 4-month-old or 3-month-old. I just thought of something. I might have to add on an upper body strengthening protocol for you guys. So you can hold the babies and do the sensory input that I want you to do as they get a little bigger. So maybe I'll give you a PT protocol for your own upper body strength. Anyway, so without this pillar, it's like you're kind of hoping, you're like, okay, well, this baby doesn't really settle. I don't, let's try different things. But with this, you can shift into very, very confident. Um, I spoke live at in someone else's sleep program. It was a sleep NCS program, and I was a guest speaker. And so I did a little training on some of this, and um, the ladies went home. Some of them were working with babies, and they tried the things that I taught that day. And I got emails the next day. They're like, "This really works." They're like, "It really works. It changed the way this baby would settle. We thought it was the 4 month regression, or we thought it was, this, and it shifted how the baby settled in my arms. Just trying this mini movement sequence that you gave us, and so that was really great for me to hear as well, because this was early on. It's not just me, right? You as providers, that's why I'm continuing to teach this. But okay, I don't want to keep you all day, but referring, this is when what you're seeing is beyond your scope, and having that language and creating the relationships and the professionalism where you are to make a referral, right? That also will helps your credibility rather than undermining it. Like, I don't really know what's going on, so ask your pediatrician. And I'm not saying we don't refer to the pediatrician. I'm saying there's a way to refer that can increase your credibility and not undermine you, to where you're not seen as a part of the team. Imagine having a back and forth referral relationship with a physical therapy clinic, and speech and OT. Usually, they're together. Imagine having a referral network with them. Like, you send them there when it's not, it's out of your scope, and they send them to you when they need more care at home, knowing that you know what you know. I mean, to me, that seems like a whole, I don't know. You have to tell me how you feel. To me, that seems the whole point. Like, babies just getting um, more care in a different way, and elevating you at the same time. So without this referring pillar, like, you can feel isolated, and like you're going out there and you only talk to other doulas, but everybody's the same as you or other NCS. With this pillar created, you can be in the hub of a care network, in a professional network, back and forth, like I said. Um, okay, let's move really quickly, and then I'm here for you. So, what I hope you take away from this part is that knowing what you're doing here with the neuroplay method, and why these moments, like, stop being just a routine, like feeding a bottle, changing a diaper, holding the baby, moving them, swinging them. Like, it stops being like a routine, like, I'm here, this is my job, I'm holding a baby so mom can sleep. It's different now. It's like intentional. It's like, ooh, what's going on? And it can change the trajectories of the families, of the baby. And the families can say, I don't know what you did, but my baby's different. That's what you want to hear. That's what I love hearing that. It makes a difference for the people out there. So it's not just a title, neuroplay development consultant. It's a defined scope, a methodology behind you, and a pathway and a business model that is nourishing for you, the provider, and nourishing for the families. So here's what it looks like in practice. You walk into the family's home, not as an extra pair of hands, but as a development specialist who cares for the baby, says, I got this, but you're also reading their nervous system, how it's communicating, responding to you with confidence. You offer services that go beyond basic care, and you package it up. You package it up in a higher price for yourself, because you have that behind you. You be overnight support if you choose to offer that, right? Developmental consultations, backed by you're integrating reflexes, family education. It positions you as way more than a luxury. You charge rates that reflect your specialized expertise. I recommend and I teach my students how to create a $2,000 package for a 6 week period. And so that amount goes up depending on if you adding on postpartum doula support, are you doing overnight? But that's just the neuroplay side. You can have a $2,000 package, like less burnout for you, more impact, a referral network with therapists. And this is not an income guarantee or claim. Like I said, some students come through and they're like, click, 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 I'm on this. Give me this, help me with this so I can move. And some of them go back to their old pattern and I support them and I'm trying to help them get through. But it's up to you, put what you put in, you get out of it. What it looks like to work with me is that I'm your biggest cheerleader. I'm here for you with the framework. I'm here with you when you have self-doubt. I was in a group of doulas yesterday just as a guest, and a lot of them, even the experienced ones, were expressing how they still have imposter syndrome sometimes. And it surprises you when you hear that, you know. She's like, I had taken a break from this and I was doing this a different type of doula work, and then I got a call and I was like, oh no, am I good enough for this? Your brain tells you these things. So when you have a coach and a cheerleader who knows what you can do, and I know that this changes lives, then that's what you have in your corner, um, to give you the identity when you lose it for yourself. You also get the whole roadmap. So one quote heard from someone yesterday. I was on a call with a provider, and I really, really, she's great. I really respect her. She's got so much behind her, but she said something that stood out to me. We were talking about, you know, how she wants her business to look and with her ideal client, and she's like, "Well, it depends on what clients find me." And I wanted to sit with this for a moment because it's like you're putting it out there and it's like whoever finds me, that's how I'll make money. But the thing is, like when you're one of many providers offering similar services, you got to take what comes. You take the client who might negotiate your rate down. You know, you take the longer drive, you take the last minute cancellation people, you know, because you're like waiting to be found. And she didn't say this as, you know, negative about herself. It's just how she feels about it. She's like, well, it depends on who finds me, you know, and that's, you know, it doesn't serve her in the best way. But when you stop waiting to be found and you have this a method or framework or someone behind you, you start leading the type of client who's attracted to what you offer. The family who wants more than a warm presence. The family who wants someone who can read their baby's nervous system. The family who will pay $2,000 for a provider to give a genuine developmental advantage to their baby. The family is looking for a certain person. They're looking to find you who they want, right? So you're not like just offering what everyone else is offering because that's how you find the generic clients. You're offering something that they can't find somewhere else, right? It's not like luck, right? It makes you findable by the exact people that you would want to work with. Okay. A neuroplay development consultant, in my opinion, doesn't depend on what clients will find her. She leads and finds the clients will be there. So this week I've showed a lot of what's possible when you have the framework. When you're not guessing, the difference between guessing and knowing, and being indispensable. And I want to share with you before we do questions what this looks like a little bit to how you live it. The program is 6 months, but my gift to you is 7 months. I'm adding on an extra month for you. December, usually people kind of settle in, and I want to still support you through that month to start your 2027 off on the best foot possible for you. You have 7 months, bi-monthly live support calls, mentorship calls with me, the complete framework. So the pillars fully developed, all the sequences, the assessments, advanced movement integration, communication, and a business structure that you adapt to fit you, but you get a structure and you have the certified title with a badge of neuroplay development consultant. The digital badge can go with you everywhere. And tomorrow you can also learn how to put that out there. How do you put this identity out there? You also have a community of providers who are doing this work. Um, no, they're not waiting to be found, right? We're coaching on that, mentoring on that. So today I have something for this group that I've never offered before. I really mean that. The bonus has never existed until this week. And you showed up and you deserve something, and I want to do this. It's really exciting for me. So typically, hold on, sorry. So bonus I'm going to include with the NeuroPlay Consultant program is, like I said, December for free. So you get 7 months for the price of 6. Also, you get a free ticket to the NeuroPlay Method live experience, hands-on baby immersion day, baby brain immersion day in Houston later this year. This is a dream of mine, and I am really, really excited about it, and I hope that you feel too. So when you join today, but before tomorrow, 24 hours, you get a free ticket to the NeuroPlay Method live experience. So you have your online content that I talked about and the mentorship calls with me for 7 months, and you have a free ticket to come in person to Houston to the event. At the end of the year, I'm going to host my very first in-person, not training, but this type of event where I'm going to have real babies come in, not simulations and videos. We're going to have some real babies, real nervous systems, and real transformation. And in the same room with me, we get to hang out and your fellow NeuroPlay consultants. So this ticket, and I'm not sure when I'm opening this to the public for other people to join in, but for now, and what the cost will not be free. Just just so you know, this is yours free when you join within today through tomorrow evening. So tomorrow will be one more our bonus training. You have until tomorrow evening. That's my biggest bonus yet. I want to be in the room with you ladies. I want to just grow this community even more. So the cost for the NeuroPlay program is $3,000, and it includes everything that I just told you. Payment plans are available, and I also have opened up some slots for phone calls. If you want to see how this relates to you, how this give me your your personal situation if you weren't able to make it live, and that, so like I said, it's 3,000, including all of the bonuses, including December, and including the free ticket. This is the culmination of everything that we talked about this week. And I am so, so thankful for you guys who are being here today. Again, if you want to book a call and you are on the replay, reply to any one of your emails. Okay, or you can find me on social, but reply to your email and say, me, I want to book a call. Some of the emails coming through will have that link for you, and you can see how this framework will change your life, your career, your God-given vision and goals that you have. If this is a fit for you, I welcome you. And if you want to understand more about the NeuroPlay method so you can refer, that is also amazing. So if you are a birth doula or this is not your calling, you can refer to NeuroPlay consultants. We have a directory, and your name will be on there if you do become a consultant for 1 year, absolutely free. And we have that directory also so you can refer. Okay. This provider you've been becoming all week, she's ready. I hope that you have loved this time, and please share with me any takeaways that have really changed things for you. What have you enjoyed the most? And I look forward to hearing from you guys watching the replays. Have a wonderful day. Whoever's here live, I am here for you for a Q&A. Have a lovely, lovely day. Bye.